This week on Backbench News, war in the Middle East is ramping up with the US launching airstrikes against Iranian-backed forces in Iraq and Syria. In Canada, Danielle Smith protects children from irreversible gender surgeries, with the left labeling Conservatives as far-right extremists. Will this strategy work for Justin Trudeau? And finally, a $1 million cash prize for a millionaire. All this and more coming up on Backbench News. Welcome everyone to the first episode of Backbench News. I am Grant Woods. This is a trial show for something big we have planned for Backbench. I'm not sure if you've seen the teaser video that I released on YouTube recently, but I'm working with 3 other people to make something that Canada has never seen in the center-right political media space. I'm super excited. I hope you guys are too, and let's dive into the show. Our first story comes out of the Middle East, where things are getting more intense every single day. In October, the Houthi rebels, a Shia militia group that rebelled against the government of Yemen in 2004 and now controls much of the territory of Yemen, started to attack Western commercial vessels in the Red Sea in support of Hamas. In response, on January 12th, the US and UK launched a wave of strikes against Houthi-controlled sites in Yemen. Now, the Houthis are one of many Iranian-backed militias that Iran uses to attack Western countries indirectly. Attacks like the one on January 28th targeting a US logistics support base in Jordan. This was a drone attack that killed 3 American soldiers and injured more than 40 others. A group called the Islamic Resistance in Iraq has taken responsibility for the drone strike, and it's not overly clear who that group is. It appears like it's a collection of a bunch of different Iranian-backed militias. Now, it's an election year in the US, and Joe Biden is utterly desperate to shake off the persona of weakness and fragility that American voters have for him. So the US retaliated by airstriking Iranian-controlled targets in Iraq and Syria over the course of a couple days. Some of the bases that the US struck were apparently used by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, which is a branch of the Iranian military. And that is really the true objective of the uniparty war machine in Washington. Their target is not these militia groups, it is the funder of these militia groups, which is Iran.
Biden has yet to hit Iran directly. The Iranians could care less how many Houthis you kill. They could care less how many Iraqi militia you killed. The only way they will change their behavior and stop killing Americans and attacking our troops and trying to bomb ships in the Red Sea is for Joe Biden to hit their oil infrastructure and start killing their soldiers inside of Iran.
Now, you have senators like Lindsey Graham who are very pro-war with Iran. On the Democratic side, people are saying the same thing. So, all in all, very dangerous situation. We must avoid a full-scale conflict with Iran. If there is a full-scale conflict with Iran, that would be very dangerous for the world, I think. In Canadian politics, Danielle Smith is coming under intense hellfire from the mainstream media and their liberal puppet masters. All of this is over a new Albertan policy positions that Danielle Smith released in a video. Let's play a clip from that.
In my view, one of the greatest responsibilities we as parents, teachers, and community leaders have is to preserve for our children the right to grow and develop into mature adults so that they are better prepared to make the most impactful decisions affecting their lives. It is my view that list of adult choices includes deciding whether or not to alter one's biological sex.
Among her new policy positions is a ban on top and bottom surgeries for children aged 17 and under. If you don't know what these surgeries are, top surgery is when they remove the breasts of a healthy young woman to make her appear more masculine. Bottom surgery is where they try to construct genitalia out of different body parts. This causes a lot of problems later on in life. If you guys haven't seen the documentary, What is a Woman? Very good. I recommend you watch that. Smith also banned puberty blockers for children aged 15 and under. These are cross-sex hormones that you take when you should be naturally going through puberty. It prevents you from going through puberty naturally. If you are a woman or a girl taking these puberty blockers and taking testosterone, other masculine hormones, you will appear more masculine as you grow up. Biological men will be banned from competing in women's only sports divisions. Smith said that she will coordinate with different leagues to have gender neutral divisions where, trans people can compete with anyone. There was one policy position though that angered the left more than the others, and that was if a child wants to change their pronouns or their name at school, children 15 and under need parental consent to do that. Children age 16 and 17 don't need parental consent, but they need, their parents have to be informed of their child wanting to societally transition into the other gender, which I think is completely reasonable. And I think the majority of Canadians would agree with that.
I have spent hours on the phone consoling people who are crying on the phone asking how we can stand up for the rights of 2 LGBTQ people in Alberta.
I think actually targeting that small minority for some political purpose in Alberta, as it seems that the Premier is doing, is not becoming of her office and is in fact actually targeting and perhaps even demonizing those children.
Again, it's going to make things less safe for kids, and there's already way too many trans and LGBT kids committing suicide. This is going to end up in more harms to kids.
If people ever needed proof that a Conservative government would not hesitate, given a majority and given the power to do so, to interfere with people's choices in what medical procedures they undergo, there's your proof right there.
But the comment that was made a minute ago that, if you ever want to know what a Conservative government would look like and taking away choice and going after, please, there's nuance and there's difference about this. And this sweeping generalization of this is what Conservatives do, it's the kind of grade 8 language about politics that gets us nowhere when we want to have rational conversations about how to best protect kids. And everybody wants to protect kids here. But I think for a lot of Albertans, I think there's kind of a common sense element here. And a lot of Albertans are not going to take kindly to whether it's Rachel Notley or Minister Boissonnault preaching at them, saying that they're endangering and they're going to kill kids. When you have to have parental consent to buy a lottery ticket, to get a driver's license. You can't vote until you're 18. You can't drink or buy a pack of cigarettes, but you can make a life-altering permanent decision to your physical makeup without the consent of your parents.
The left is saying that this will put children in harm's way if their parents are not accepting of their new identity, or if there is an abusive situation at the household, that this could proc parents to abuse their children if they're not okay with them doing this, basically. Smith's counter to this point is one that I agree with, which is there are very strict child protection laws in Canada, in Alberta, and those child protection laws will protect children that are in abusive households. If a teacher sees a sign of abuse on the children, or if a children comes out and tells the teacher that there's abuse happening, the teacher can inform Child Protection Services, and that problem will be resolved with the child being removed from the custody of the abusive parents.
However, in the handful of rare situations where one or both of the parents reject or become abusive to a child who identifies as transgender, we have child protection laws that will be strictly enforced.
And those laws will protect children that are in that situation. So the left freaking out about children dying or being kicked out of their households because of this, I think is unfounded, and it goes to show how desperate the left is to paint Canadian Conservatives as bigoted, homophobic, transphobic, you name it. Now, the response to this policy shift in Alberta from the mainstream media and our ruling Liberal elites has been to scare Canadians using the buzz phrase, MAGA Conservatives. You can see this everywhere. The media is going crazy with it. It's like Trudeau's main talking point these days.
The real story is the rise of a right-wing American MAGA-influenced thinking that has made Canadian conservatives turn their backs on something Ukraine needs.
It has become glaringly obvious to everyone, except for certain MAGA conservatives, that the fight against climate change is a fight for the future of our economy. What he is proposing to do is to make Canada great again. That is not what Canadians want.
I'm sure you guys know, but the MAGA refers to Make America Great Again. It's synonymous with Trump-style politics, something that Canadians overwhelmingly don't like. More broadly, though, it links, if you can make that link between American Republicans and Canadian Conservatives, there is an inherent bias, dislike that Canadians have for American influence in our country. When you are a student in Canada, you are taught to be smug about our country compared to the United States, whether it's our universal healthcare system, whether it's access to abortion, whether it's the War of 1812. From a very early age, Canadians are taught that we are better than America, and America is immoral, foreign power that we must keep separate from Canadian identity. JJ McCullough has a really good video on that. I'm not sure if you guys have seen it. Maybe I'll link it down below. Now, with this, Liberals are trying to convince Canadians that Pierre is MAGA. Is this working? According to the recent polling, it is absolutely not working because Conservatives have a huge lead. If we were to have an election today, Conservatives would win a majority government by a mile. I think actually if Conservatives won a minority the next time around, our expectations are so high with Pierre that a minority government would be seen as a loss. And rightfully so, to be honest. Even though this isn't seeming to work in the recent polls, this is Trudeau's only tactic for the next election. And this year we'll see what happens with the American election, but imagine if Trump wins, Canadians will be hyper smug about it. Canadians will be scared of Trump's influence in Canada. And if the Liberals can successfully convince Canadians that Pierre is Canada's version of Trump, that might be their only viable election strategy. So be prepared for that. It's all Trudeau has left. We just have to be vigilant and push back against the narrative. Trudeau has shown that he's won by dividing Canadians in the past. He will try to divide Canadians on this issue this time around, like he currently is trying to do. Now we have one section left. If you stuck around this far, thank you very much. Please like, comment, subscribe to Backbench, and let's dive into the last section. Last week, the NHL had their AllStar game where the best NHL players in the league competed against each other on 4 teams. Each team had a celebrity coach. I think the NHL is trying to replicate kind of the celebrity stardom that we see in other sports. Justin Bieber's team with Austin Matthews was the winner. It was very, very enjoyable to watch. People are attributing that fact to an incentive the NHL put in place for the players to compete hard. And that is $1 million for the winner of the skills competition and $1 million for the winner of, or for the winning team to be divided equally amongst the winners. Now, I was watching the All-Star game with my fiance, and she brought up an interesting point, which is the NHL is giving a $1 million cash prize to a millionaire to try hard at his job. This comes at a time when Canadians are struggling to afford a home. They're struggling to buy groceries, struggling to fill up their car. And overall, Canadians are having financial pressures that we haven't seen for a very long time. and the NHL is giving another $1 million to a millionaire. One side of my brain, the populist side, says this is incredibly tone deaf and it's a bad look for the NHL. It could be infuriating for people who are in this tough financial situation, and the NHL could have better used that money. You know, maybe McDavid keeps a quarter of it or something, or half, and then donates the rest of it to a charity. But the other side of my brain, the free market pro-business side, says the NHL is a private company. They can do what they want with their money. If it provides higher quality hockey for the fans, which it did, then so be it. And they should, they should do with their money what they deem is right. So that's the question I have for you guys today. Do you think it was a bad look for the NHL to give $1 million for the winner of the skills competition? Or do you not care? You let me know. You can vote on that in the community tab. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you like the setup. I spent $700 on this setup, so I hope it's worth it. I have a couple more things coming as well. This was pretty fun to make. It's all made of Lego. I think it looks pretty good. But yeah, let me know what you think of the show format. There's a lot of exciting stuff coming. Check out that video I did, the teaser for Backbench. Please stay tuned and take care, guys.